I watched Channel 4 News last night and I got to 40 minutes in and I thought, are they going to mention the fact that Keir Starmer is under the cosh here? That, you know, Lord Ali and the revelations coming out of the penthouse and the £18 million penthouse are getting worse. That, you know, the Labour Party's, you know, sort of folding in on itself.
It's just a rich guy, and I actually make no criticism of him. It seems he's played his hand quite well, spraying money and favours around the very top of this government. And people hate that stuff. And they also recall that the last bunch that were the recipients of this kind of largesse were the Tories, and they were the ones partying in Downing Street and so on. And guess who was on their high horse criticising it all? It was this lot.
The political class often behave as though the rules don't apply to them, as if they stand beyond scrutiny. Yet this week, that facade began to fracture. Sir Keir Starmer landed at the heart of an escalating controversy after comedian Jim Davidson delivered shocking allegations during a closed comedy performance in Westminster. Davidson claims that surveillance footage from Lord Ali's private office captures Starmer in a compromising scenario, one so severe it allegedly drove his wife, Victoria, to reach out to divorce solicitors and leave their residence in distress. Multiple insider accounts state the recording was presented to her at a fundraising function, and since that moment, she has remained absent from public view. Downing Street has officially branded the tale as baseless. Still, behind the scenes, unease is rising. Starmer's circle has begun issuing cease and desist notices, warning of lawsuits and leaning on digital platforms to erase every trace of the allegations from their sites. It seems the Labour chief is employing the full weight of his office to suppress discussion and intimidate anyone willing to raise their voice.
You went from being, one of the most beloved TV comedians. How did it feel as it's the sort of cancel culture rose and the news stopped? How were you perceived differently by the media, I suppose?
Well, it didn't bother me that much because I thought it was their problem. I thought it was them that were, they're wrong, they're mad. Okay, I didn't.
Davidson refuses to retreat. After reviewing the recording, he described it as utterly nauseating. It's a forceful allegation, one that cuts deeply considering the figure involved. Keir Starmer, once hailed as the fiercest defender of political honesty, now confronts charges of the very misconduct he vowed to eliminate. Labour figures are growing restless. Some are even weighing options to remove him, seeing not only a burden but the gravest danger to the party's prospects and perhaps to the country itself. And just when many assumed Jim Davidson would slip out of the spotlight, he resurfaced with a final, blistering strike, accusing Starmer of being a prime minister bankrolled by a benefactor while sheltering fraudulent asylum seekers.
And that is, for me, possibly the worst and most damaging aspect of this story. That this is a guy who is leading our country, who is the representative of the United Kingdom at the United Nations. He's not the head of state, but he's, the leader of the nation. He has lived a complete lie. I mean, I've said earlier today in the show, I don't know what he gets up to with Lord Ali. I don't know what he does for hours and hours on end at this flat that they seem to be happy to share.
People are becoming increasingly angry with Keir Starmer and his party, as new revelations surface about his ties to Lord Ali and the questionable activities linked to that lavish penthouse. What's fueling even greater outrage is how leading broadcasters such as Channel 4 and the BBC appear to ignore the matter entirely, sparking doubts about their impartiality. For many, it seems like a deliberate attempt to protect Starmer from scrutiny. The association between Starmer and Lord Ali, particularly the manner in which the residence has been used for political gatherings, hasn't escaped notice. And when Labour figures like Wes Streeting are spotted arranging fundraising occasions there, it only strengthens the impression that something is deeply off. In that very same penthouse.
In the same penthouse. I mean, this is unbelievable to me.
So I think there is something bigger going on here, and it's annoying because I don't know what it is. And I know that the lobby of political journalists at Westminster feel the same. All of us instinctively feel that there is some big fact here that we're not being made. I
mean, I'm going to ask the question because nobody else will. Is it some kind of sex thing, do you think?
So there have long been rumours about Keir Starmer's private life, and they certainly aren't to do with any kind of doubts over his sexuality, if I can put it delicately. Okay. They are to do with his past.
People are particularly outraged over a donation tied to climate policy that was never fully revealed. What's made matters worse is that Keir Starmer seemed to record public statements from Lord Ali's lavish penthouse while presenting it, as though he were at his own residence. This has raised serious doubts about honesty, not only concerning Starmer himself, but across the Labour Party's leadership. Yet perhaps the most disturbing aspect of all, this is the rising wave of mistrust among voters, although some of the more personal claims remain unproven. there's a persistent suspicion that the entire truth isn't being shared. Commentators like Isabel Oakeshott have openly hinted that parts of Starmer's history are being concealed by the press, further intensifying concerns that something significant is being withheld.
Because it's really quite easily understood. It's just a rich guy, and I actually make no criticism of him. It seems he's played his hand quite well, spraying money and favours around the very top of this government. And people hate that stuff. And they also recall that the last bunch that were the recipients of this kind of largesse were the Tories, and they were the ones partying in Downing Street and so on. And guess who was on their high horse criticising it all? It was this lot.
Once again, Keir Starmer's leadership faces scrutiny, this time over his links to Lord Ali and the use of an extravagant £18 million penthouse. The entire affair has triggered a wave of public anger, with many suspecting something deeper and possibly darker beneath the surface. There's a rising belief that the details simply don't align, that the dispute began when Starmer defended staying in Lord Ali's high-end apartment, saying it was so his son could prepare for GCSEs. But here's the issue. The timeline doesn't exactly fit. Reports indicate the family remained for 7 weeks, well beyond the exam period. Naturally, people are asking why they stayed in such a lavish setting for that length of time, and it doesn't end there. It appears Starmer's son may not have been the only one enjoying the arrangement. Questions continue to circle about how many relatives lived there, and whether it was ever truly necessary, especially when quieter study options surely existed. Starmer insisted the accommodation, costing £450 per night, was properly declared. Yet, considering the penthouse's real value, many feel that explanation isn't sufficient. Critics argue that this type of benefit contradicts Labour's repeated attacks on privilege and unfair advantages, particularly around private schooling and inequality. Such a double standard doesn't sit comfortably with voters, and the longer this saga unfolds, the worse it looks. The more people hear, the stronger the suspicion grows that something is concealed, perhaps a personal favour, perhaps something else entirely. Either way, the optics are poor. What began as a story about an expensive stay has now turned into a broader debate about trust, openness, and principle. At its core, this is no longer about a penthouse. It's about whether those who pledge to fight for fairness are genuinely living up to their promises, and for many, doubt is creeping in. If Labour's leadership can't be fully honest about this, what else might they be hiding?
Should Keir Starmer and his wife pay for their own clothes? Victoria Starmer has been wearing high-end clothes given to her by a Labour donor. Lord Ali recently gifted her more than £5,000 worth of clothing. He's also given the PM items worth almost £19,000. Starmer did declare his gifts to Parliament, but not his wife's. The gifts have now been registered after the Prime Minister sought advice. And the Parliamentary Standards Commissioner has rejected calls from the Tories for an investigation.
Sir Keir Starmer and his wife Victoria face mounting scrutiny over expensive gifts and what critics describe as a pattern of privilege, secrecy, and possible cover-ups. Recent records revealed Labour donor Lord Wahid Ali provided Victoria with more than £5,000 worth of designer clothing, while Keir accepted nearly £19,000 in luxury items. Officially, these donations were declared in Parliament, yet behind the curtain worries are growing. Starmer's explanation is that the clothes were meant to keep him and his wife looking presentable in public life. But for a man drawing a substantial, taxpayer-funded salary and a spouse said to earn independently, many ask why take luxury handouts at all. The optics are undeniably uncomfortable for someone who presents himself as a champion of ordinary workers. But that's only part of the matter. It also surfaced that the Starmers stayed at Lord Ali's £18 million penthouse well beyond their sons' GCSE exams. No detailed justification has been given. Who else was there who financed the extended stay? These questions linger unanswered. Efforts to clarify have reportedly been met with silence, diversion, or even suppression. Multiple Westminster insiders claim CCTV linked to these events. ALLEGEDLY, showing Starmer and Lord Ali in private quarters, was seized by British authorities under Downing Street orders. Starmer's camp argues the material holds no relevance to public interest, but critics disagree. Some call it a dangerous misuse of power. According to sources, several political reporters, many connected to comedian Jim Davidson, who first highlighted the issue, have been pushed into silence. Some allegedly lost credentials. Others were warned off the subject by individuals claiming to act on behalf of senior government figures altogether. It paints a troubling picture. One not merely of expensive wardrobes and elite connections, but of attempts to block the public from learning more. Growing whispers in Westminster and beyond center on leaked clips supposedly showing activities inside Lord Ali's penthouse during the time Starmer's family stayed there. The footage reportedly doesn't just capture offices, but also movement in hallways and entrances, according to people close to the matter, including journalist Isabel Oxshott and other insiders. The clips suggest questionable late-night meetings, unannounced guests, and moments raising both ethical and legal doubts. Starmer's team dismisses the claims as malicious gossip, but not all within Labour are convinced. One unnamed MP reportedly said the situation combines allegations of high-end gifts, undeclared perks, and use of extravagant accommodation. Shifting the public mood, Starmer, once viewed as a disciplined, straight-talking figure, now risks appearing as another privileged politician caught in the same backroom dealings his party condemns. The story first drew attention when it was revealed that Lord Ollie, a major donor, had given Victoria Starmer over £5,000 in clothing. Keir himself received nearly £19,000 worth of fashion, while these donations were eventually registered in Parliament. Victoria's only surfaced after media pressure, fueling doubts about openness for many. The larger question remains: why would someone as wealthy as Starmer need such costly handouts at all? More crucially, why are they all from the same source? Matters escalated when it emerged the family stayed several weeks in Lord Ali's £18 million penthouse during their son's exam period. Starmer defended the stay, saying it offered a quiet place for revision. But critics quickly challenged why they remained even after exams ended, and whether such a lavish setting was necessary for studying. Some sarcastically asked if a library wouldn't have sufficed. Now, attention is shifting beyond gifts or the stay toward a deeper concern: is Lord Ali's generosity truly innocent, or does it create expectation and influence? Given his prominence as a donor, it's no surprise people are questioning whether political favour is involved. As revelations continue and MPs quietly voice unease, the British public is starting to raise the kind of questions no leader wants to face. Who is Keir Starmer really serving? And why do these stories keep piling up? Don't go near anything.
Don't go near anything. Don't take anything for free, just in case.
It's also, this is like is this the only billionaire that supports Labour? I think it's a bit sad that he seems to, this Ali.
Yeah, he's buying them clothes. He's like, buying them food.
They've got no one else to go, because they said, oh, what's his first name? Is his first name Ali? Yeah, no, his surname's Ali. Lord Ali.
Lord is his first name.
I was looking for it was Lord, yes. Lord Ali.
Yes.
They were like, well, is it Lord Ali's place? He's like, yeah, of course it is.
So he's the only donor at this point.
It seems so.
They would all starve without him.
Lord Ali must be sat there and his phone rings. He's like, oh, Starmer again.
He's just going to give him the bank details and let him get on with it.
Let's discuss optics, because they really matter. Here we have Keir Starmer, head of a party that claims to represent working people, accepting expensive clothing, accommodation, and other benefits from one donor. And not just anyone. Look, Whitey Ali, among the richest men in Britain, and users online didn't hold back. Social media quickly exploded with jokes, some even labeling Ali as Starmer's sugar daddy, a phrase that spread far and wide. Whether these offerings were simply friendly gestures or something more calculated, the public is questioning motives, and who could blame them? When a politician accepts lavish perks, especially repeatedly, it naturally sparks doubts. This isn't about a casual thank you bottle of wine, it's an entire lifestyle being financed, and for someone who says he's standing up for everyday citizens, it feels wrong. The larger issue, trust, every new revelation seems to make the picture cloudier, and the explanations so far haven't exactly reassured anyone. Instead, the narrative keeps escalating and public confidence keeps slipping. People are exhausted by double standards, exhausted by leaders preaching the moral high ground while secretly following another set of rules. Whether Starmer can survive this storm is uncertain. But one thing is obvious: the public no longer believes the polished talking points. We'd love to hear your views in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, remember to give it a like and subscribe to our channel for more sharp content. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.